in my capacity as a new chairman of the school, and I'd like to thank the whole team, and particularly Sharmista for her tireless efforts as a very passionate director of the school, and not just that, because Sharmista, my father was like a father to her, and she's really like a sister to me. So we're constantly in touch, and it's really terrific. My children really wanted to be here today. We did our best to change their plans, but they're in Europe as we speak. I had to send them off last night, and if I forget what I was saying mid-sentence, have some understanding, because I had only 4 hours sleep last night, taking them to the airport and seeing them off. So anyway, it's been 1 year now. 1 year ago, my father was here for the very last time, and in fact, this school was like the most important thing in his life, really. It was the last time he left home was when he came to Founders Day last year at the school, and so it's very sad, of course, but it's also a reason we're here to celebrate today, celebrate his life, celebrate the achievements of the school and the realization of his dream. You've heard bits and pieces about my father's background, what led to this. My father had lost his father when he was only 8 years old, and worked hard to support the family, and was a smart kid, won scholarships at boarding school, and was really brought up by his teachers there. And that's when he said to himself, if I do well one day, I want to set up a school. And he ended up coming, during partition, of course, coming here on the top of a train and living in a tent for years. And I mean, many of you, I'm sure, have similar stories in your families. But what a wrenching time. And then ended up going to France, to England, studying further. Being called to the bar in London at Lincoln's Inn, and then met my mother in Yorkshire, picking potatoes at a student farm, because he was a very poor student then, and did farm work to earn extra pocket money. And of course, my father liked to say, that my mother was the largest potato he picked. So that was his introduction to the German culture, and after following after the French and the British culture, living there, and which was not easy as a strict vegetarian at that time. And he ended up going to Berlin, getting his doctorate there at the Free University, and then my parents came overland to India in '55, and they got married in Delhi. And I think it's worth spending just a few words there just to explain the backdrop for the school and the multicultural aspect and so on, because they were married in Delhi by a Muslim judge. My father was Hindu, my mother Protestant, Christian, and there are 3 witnesses at their wedding were their three of their closest friends, a German Jew, an Indian Jew, and a Hindu. So, this is sort of the backdrop. It's very all-embracing, multicultural, and so on. And so that's a long preamble to what came to the school. Now, I had a very international education also. I started out in Indian school at Summerfield and Mater Dei, and the nuns were famous for rapping your knuckles until the ruler broke. Then going to the German school in Delhi, then high school in Berlin. And that was the height of the Cold War at that time, and very left-wing movement among students, so another very extreme experience. Then ending up in boarding school in England, which was a very fine school, but out of 540 kids, there were only 4 foreign students. Now, foreign, the word sounds so exclusionary, doesn't it? And that included 2 boys from Uganda, who were very smart, but when they joined the school and they sat down with a group of students at the big tables there in the dining hall, the other kids would move away. And then there was one boy from Bombay, and then there was myself, and the other kids, they just couldn't decide, should they call me Kraut or should they call me Packy? So, so again, we're talking different experiences. So setting up a new school gives the luxury of being able to cherry pick what are the best elements of the different systems that you want to incorporate in this new effort, and what are the things you want to steer away from or make a real effort to avoid. And so, cultural awareness and so on, because now, almost every school calls itself international today. There's nothing special anymore. But it's really, it goes beyond just being international. It is the cultural awareness, the environmental awareness, but it's also being sort of global and being multi-domestic, and not just teaching languages, but teaching culture. So that was my father's idea, to bring in many exchange students, exchange teachers, involve young foreign teachers and students to be teaching after-school activities and hobbies also, and just to really incorporate all of that. So what does my becoming chairman now, in what way might it become different or whatever? I think what you're seeing now for the first time is I'm going to be the first chairman who also is a parent of school-aged children. So that's that has certain implications, because yes, we want academic excellence, we want languages, cultures, and so on to be taught, but also as a parent, normally, I'll give you a few examples. Normally, I will not get involved at all in the day-to-day or the nitty-gritty of the school, but I do oversee a lot of things, and I saw the daily schedule, and of course, my reaction as a parent is, these kids are not getting enough sleep. They need more sleep, and sleep is not a waste of time. It's an investment into good development of the brain and absorbing the material better the next day. So, unfortunately, I've learned since that really of the elite schools in the country, it's sort of very common that kids are just not getting enough sleep. So, just one example. Then I'd say also, what I will add to the long list, to the list of goals that I've already talked about, is more the soft goals for the school. Me also speaking as a parent, and it's we're here not just to educate your children and give them the proper academic skills to succeed in life, but it's to make them well-rounded and to help each child to be the best they can possibly be. So to build on strength and to bring a positive approach to, too many of the traditional educational systems are focused on what are your shortcomings, where are you the weakest, let's give you tuitions to help you with that, and so on. It's always focusing on where is it missing, but not enough focus on where are the strengths, and let's really build on the strength, and then by developing the strength into a passion, then you pull along all the weaknesses, and somehow the child gets more self-confidence, self-esteem, and gets the can-do attitude to tackle the weaknesses, but from a position of strength. So, more these sort of soft goals, I'd say, are high on my agenda. And I'm very excited about what has been achieved in this last year, and we continue. We've set up this fantastic new observatory. I think already we have the best campus of any school in the country, but this observatory is amazing with research, great telescope, and so on. We've added wonderful new people to our, Jayashree, who we've welcomed here a few months ago as a new VP, and then we have many new hires amongst teachers also. So very excited about all of that. But the one thing I want to mention is heart. not just good teachers, but we want everybody here to really care about the children, care about the success, care about them as individuals, humans. So really, this is a wonderful family, and we're so happy to have you all here today to join in the celebration. Thank you.
Some of your father's sense of humor. I request the guest of honor, Mr. Gensuke Tokoro, to please step on stage to give away the prizes, the trophies for the houses. Sir, kindly escort the guest on stage. Mr. Gensuke Tokoro has an extensive experience in structuring joint ventures, licensing negotiations and restructuring companies in the area of pharmaceutical products, plant animal genetics, vaccine and foods. Professor at Hitotsubashi University, he is President and CEO, Aragon Pharmaceutical Inc. He also serves as President, Nippon Biocapitals Inc. and is Director, Nippon Pharma Promotion Inc. I request you to kindly give away the trophies of the houses, sir.
I shall announce the awards for Best House, the Best House in Sports, the Best House in Academic Performance, the Best House in Co-Curricular Activities, and Cock House Trophy for Overall Best Performance. In the sports category, the trophy for Best House goes to Diamond House with a score of 1389 points for the academic year 2010-11. I would request the Diamond House Masters with their house representatives to kindly come up on the stage and collect the trophy from the guest performance. The trophy for the Best House in Academic Performance goes to Ruby House for the academic year 2010-11. I would request the Ruby House Master with their house captain and vice captain to kindly come up on the stage and collect the trophy. The trophy for co-curricular activities goes to Diamond House again for the academic year 2010-11. I would request the Diamond House Masters with their house representatives to collect the trophy. The most coveted Cock House Trophy for overall best performance goes to Diamond House for the academic year 2010-11. I would request the Diamond House Masters with their house captain and vice captain to collect the Cock House Trophy.
Thank you very much, sir. I request you to kindly say a few words to the gathering.
Hello everybody. We do this in a small wrestling championship. And normally the trophy is so big that the presenter has a big problem presenting it. Because the recipient is about 200 kilos. I felt the same way because I didn't do anything, but I'm presenting and getting pictures taken. So it feels great. Dr. Sagar and I go back almost 40 years. And I look aged now, but that's just because my daughter created so much problem in the past few years. She's 19, a very difficult age. So I lost my hair. I'm 62. I looked much younger 3 years ago. Really? Thank you. Going back, I have to make my story short. But I met Dr. Sagar about 37 years ago. I was 24 at the time, working for an American company called Pioneer Hybrid International. And my boss, who is a very, very intelligent person, Dr. S.M. Sagar, who has an institution, a foundation called IRAD in Gurgaon now. He told me to go to India. And before, I grew up in Japan. I grew up also in the United States, but I grew up basically in developed countries. I've never visited a developing country. So he told me before the trip, he said, "Gen, if there's hell on earth, it must be in India." So that was his statement. So he told me, remember that, and don't get shot. So I go. So I arrived in New Delhi airport, and Dr. Sagar waited for me at the airport. Just the same. He's very impressive because he never changed during my almost 40 years association with him. So he picked me up at airport, and he took me to the hotel, and we started our association since then. And I have been now working out of college for 40 years, and majority of my time I have spent with Dr. Sagar in many ways. Interesting, he was the first foreigner my daughter, who's creating a lot of problems, met. And she's born on July 7th at 7:07 in the morning. So she was on national television. And that's why I named her Alice, from Alice in Wonderland. So she's still in Wonderland. She's okay now, okay? So Dr. Sagar met her 2 days after her birth. And that was interesting. Also, my father, after I came back from the United States, I worked for my father for 10 years. Very interesting 10 years. And I was fired. This is about 20 years ago. And about 5 or 6 years ago, he had a problem in his business, and he wanted to sue the German company and the American company. So I consulted first with Dr. Sagar. He was very, very energetic, and he said, "Gen, we will win this." I thought I would lose for sure, because the case didn't look very good to me. But he was so determined, he did everything. So we first prepared the material in Japanese, he translated, and we translated in English, and he translated himself into German. So incidentally, we lost the case, but that was after Dr. Sagar passed away. But he helped me in that energetically. Then on my 60th birthday, I thought I would do something special. So I sent the invitation to all my friends, about 600, hoping that only 10% would show up. But unfortunately, 250 people came, and I had to book the whole hotel for 2 days at Lake Hakone. And of course, from India, Dr. Sagar, he wouldn't miss it. So he came and made a beautiful presentation. So I have to thank him because he must be listening somewhere. I think in Tibet, when you pass away, I think you are with your body somewhere within maybe 10 meters or a few meters vicinity. So they tell the body to go straight to space and don't come back. So every day the spirit is challenged. And if you live a soft life or easy life, you cannot meet the challenge, because the challenge is a very intense light coming towards you. And if you live an easy life, you go to the soft light. So, and you end up coming back as a cockroach, or a dog, or a cow, or even a tree if you're lucky. So that goes on for 13 days. And I'm 100% sure that Dr. V. Sagar is somewhere up in the universe. And he's not coming back. So how do we meet him? We'll probably meet him up there. And the reason I say that is now scientific. And some people who are associated with me have heard this story 100,000 times, so they don't want to listen. But so I'll make it very short. In 2001, the human genome was read.